I went through this iceberg chart of obscure, creepy, and cursed commercials and added some myself, with the most commonly known ones at the top, and the farther down we go on the iceberg, the more obscure and strange things get. I tried something a little different with this one. Along with the explanations for each entry, I also live streamed my first reaction to these commercials, and I included some of those clips into this video. It took me in the chat to some wild places. Let's dive in. Kayfie commercials. This is maybe the most infamous OG internet jump scare, and if you were around back then, this first frame will bring back all the trauma. It's a scenic view of a car driving through lush hillsides when the fourth wall is shattered by a demon straight out of hell popping in front of the screen, letting out a scream that'll rip your soul out of your body. And even though I knew it was coming, I still somehow jump scared myself. Ooh, I'm scared, hold on. If you've been, oh! Fuck! I never even knew this was advertising a product. I just thought it was advertising fear. But this Kayfie car commercial is one of 9 ads from the coffee company's Wide Awake campaign. Sony PlayStation mental wealth. Terrified already? In this PlayStation ad from 1999, a very wide-eyed girl seems to have found an old camcorder and records herself in the Area 51 bathroom to tell us to not feel satisfied or take credit for what mankind has achieved on our behalf. She tells us, land on your own moon. She's dropping major truth bombs and is clearly intelligent beyond our understanding, which is probably the cause of her brain swelling. It ends with the message, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation. Hey, Past Joey, are the commercials only gonna get weirder from here? Yep, supposedly, this Kinder Surprise ad was banned from the UK for being too scary for kids. It's from 1983 and features a real interesting take on Humpty Dumpty. Is his appearance kind of horrifying in this? Yes, but it's a positive, more kid-friendly twist on the tragic folktale of Humpty Dumpty, who originally sat on a wall and had a big fall. In this one though, he's so stoked about having some chocolate, he just got a sweet new plain toy in the egg, really hype about that, and after some incoherent babbling, he falls back in pure joy of his wonderful life. But even though it's a happy story, the ad supposedly received thousands of complaints from parents saying it was scaring their kids, and they stopped airing it. This won't be the last time we see Humpty Dumpty. There are a surprising amount of commercials in here that also star Humpty Dumpty. So don't worry about that. Worry about this. Little Baby's ice cream. Were these commercials so horrifying that it led to the company going out of business? Little Baby's ice cream is known for their nightmarish ads, like Ice Cream, which, as you can see, featured 3 people with mouths for eyes screaming while the sound of an antique wind-up doll plays in the background. It's unsettling, but not as unsettling as Little Baby's magnum opus, known as This Is a Special Time, which locks you in a life-or-death staring contest with someone whose skin is made of ice cream as they self-cannibalize, scooping spoonfuls of the top of their head into their gullet. Perhaps Little Baby's ice cream doesn't care about selling ice cream and only care to traumatize everyone. And was it worth it? Because they literally went out of business. Little Baby's ice cream permanently closed in 2019, although it's not certain if the disturbing commercials were a factor in that. Some suggest it might have been because of the high prices, the small portion sizes, and unusual flavor selection. And yet it somehow gets even weirder, because in 2017, Little Baby's ice cream was caught up in the wild Pizzagate conspiracy. For anyone that doesn't know about the Pizzagate conspiracy, I'm about to make you a little dumber. It's a debunked theory that falsely claims high-profile politicians and celebrities are involved in a child sex trafficking ring operated out of a pizzeria in Washington, D.C. Little Babies and their creepy commercials caught the attention of these conspiracists and were deemed satanic, and since they shared a building in Philadelphia with a pizzeria called Pizza Brain, that was all the evidence these people needed to harass both companies. And their own store name being Little Baby's Ice Cream probably didn't help. Betting barn. I was planning on saving this next commercial for later, but when I was asked in the chat, what's the weirdest commercial you saw when you were young? Well, I couldn't hold back from sharing any longer. And we didn't know it at the time, but this was a Hotel California of sorts, because once you check into the betting barn, you can never leave.
The fire! You got the barn, you got the barn, you got the betting barn. We got the king, we got the queen, we do the discount thing. You got the blankets, the sheets, the pillows for your bed. What a groovy place to lay your head. You got the barn, you got the
She's my favorite.
You got the discount price and it feels so nice. Buy at the betting barn near you.
That is some high quality commercial content right there. I'll tell you what. Betting barn sponsor? I wish. They're too A-list for me. But you know one thing that shouldn't be just for the A-list? Protecting your personal data. I've been getting these ridiculous spam texts lately. I got concerned about where my personal data could be online and how I could protect it. That's why I was excited to learn about Aura, the sponsor of today's video. I know one of the reasons I get so many spam texts is because big companies can't keep our data safe. Recently, Ticketmaster was hacked and the data of 560 million users were put up for sale on the dark web. So what is Ticketmaster doing about it? Nothing. All of these businesses happily collect our data and do nothing to protect it. That's why I now use Aura, which alerts me when my data has been part of a data breach or leaked on the dark web. It gives me fast fraud alerts if anyone tries to use that data to access my credit or bank accounts, and it removes my information from data broker websites so I get less spam. I also get things like transaction monitoring, a VPN, antivirus, a password manager, and identity theft insurance, all in one app at one affordable price. Aura is always on and always doing the hard work of keeping me safe. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable to data breaches, and if you don't want to either, you can go to aura.com/Joey Engelman and try your first 2 weeks for free, also linked below in the description. And for our next commercial, check out just the first frame. Believe it or not, this one is also a PlayStation ad. Is PlayStation okay? It's a baby doll in a sterile, plain white room sitting opposite to a brand new PS3, which leads the baby to open their eyes and utter some strange, not very baby-like noises as tears start streaming down its eyes, which are flashing video game graphics. And by harnessing the power of gaming, the baby lifts the PlayStation off the ground via telekinesis. This is the first one that I actually recognize, so that's cool. This is a Snickers commercial that shows a huge, horrifying lady with one big arm coercing an innocent woman in the candy aisle to buy an ungodly amount of Snickers for Halloween. This advocate for the children turns out to be the classic two kids stacked on top of each other ruse. It's overall a fun commercial. During the stream, I'm actually starting to enjoy this iceberg. That feeling won't last. This next commercial changed everything. WSIB Top Chef. This one doesn't look like it's gonna be scary. Well, bud, it actually is. I'm from the future, and what you're about to watch is the fucking worst. And you're about to scar everyone that's watching your live stream. It will be blurred out in the video. I've learned my lesson. The sous chef of this high-end restaurant chats with us about her goals of being the head chef by next year, and how she loves her amazing fiance, who she unfortunately won't be marrying this weekend because she and her co-workers were negligent while cleaning up a grease spill over there, and she's about to get in a terrible accident, which then happens in the most graphic way possible, and there is no shot I'm going to show you the unedited version of this, so here is something cute instead. Okay, I am so sorry. That was traumatizing. This one is graphic. I wish I knew! I felt terrible. My face is beet red from embarrassment. Rose in the chat mentioned that there were a whole line of these in Canada, all equally graphic. It was a series of PSAs for workplace safety. This aired on television? Why are they, I don't need a commercial for that. Blast that out to CEOs, not me. Jesus Christ. That was way too graphic, man. I'll be honest, Top Chef had me so rattled, I considered ending this stream right here. It felt like I had already lost control, and we were only in tier 1, but I knew we needed to keep powering through. Maybe a nice palate cleanser would help, and for that, I knew just the place.
You got that bun, you got that bun, you got the beat red bun, you got the discount price and it feels so nice. Buy at the betting barn near you.
You know what's so funny? I was trying to like sway back and forth to the beat of the song. Try to do one of these.
Got the king, we got the queen, we do the discount thing. You got the blankets.
No! And just like that, the betting barn had us revitalized and ready to charge into the rest of this iceberg head on. Speaking of head on.
Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, available at Walgreens.
What the?
Head on, apply directly to the forehead.
No! It's the same soundbite 3 times. What are they doing? Are they trying to make you go crazy? Oh, you want me to apply head on directly to this forehead? You know how long that's gonna take? Korean love hotel commercial. It starts off innocent with a tortoise and hare in a race with each other. Heard of it? Things take an unexpected turn when the tortoise accidentally falls over and flips on her shell, exposing her tortoise body to the hare. Sexy jazz starts to play and they're both blushing, and what does the hare do? He went ahead and goes Animorphs on us and makes the absolute worst face I've ever seen. This commercial is advertising a Korean love hotel booking app named Moga, which a few people on Reddit mentioned having good user experiences with. This accident would change Michael Jackson's life forever when his hair caught on fire while filming this Pepsi commercial. In the 1980s, Pepsi partnered with Michael Jackson to sponsor his upcoming world tour and to have him star in a couple Pepsi commercials. The first ad was a group of kids dancing in the streets to a remixed Billie Jean. One of the kids, dressed like Michael Jackson, bumps into real-life Michael Jackson. That kid would go on to play Carlton Banks in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, by the way. The second commercial Michael Jackson did with Pepsi in January 1984 would become one of the most infamous accidents in advertising history. This was filmed on stage in the Shrine Auditorium in front of thousands of fans. On the sixth take of Michael Jackson walking on stage, the pyrotechnics went off before he moved down the stairs, and his head and hair caught on fire. He didn't even seem to realize it while he's still dancing until his brothers and crew members rushed towards him to put out the flames. He suffered second and third degree burns to his face and scalp. Only 25 years old at the time, Jackson's life was forever altered from this accident. His hair would never grow back after this. He had several operations to repair the burns on his head, and he suffered from chronic pain and began taking painkillers, which he would become addicted to and eventually lead to his unexpected passing. Maybe craziest of all, this post pointed out that the Pepsi accident happened exactly in the middle of his life, 9,282 days after his birth and 9,282 days after he passed away. In the early 2000s, Quiznos was an up-and-coming sandwich franchise with some truly bizarre commercials, including this one with Jim Parsons of The Big Bang Theory playing a feral man raised by wolves, suckling at the teat of a mother wolf. Then for the 2004 Super Bowl, they hit the country with what would be their most famous ad of all, known as We Love Da Subs. With the help of rodent-like singing creatures called sponge monkeys, playing a Quiznos-themed version of their pre-YouTube viral smash hit We Like the Moon, they're proudly serenading us about how they love the Quiznos subs.
We love these subs!
Not to mention,
They got a pimple bar!
this would become an anthem in my elementary school. But the good times never last, and since the Quiznos peak in 2007, they've gone from 4,700 locations around the country down to just 145 as of 2023. Seems like Quiznos is on their last meal, so I had to travel out to where the magic all began, to the very first Quiznos restaurant in Denver, Colorado, to pay my respects. This is a laughing man with the Pinocchio nose that protrudes way beyond the limits of our screen. The camera follows the nose as eerie children's music plays until the nose is all that takes up the screen as we keep going down the nose rabbit hole farther and farther, trying to see where it'll end up until it's revealed that connected to the man's nose is another man. It was just a dream. Wake up, there's fresh coffee at McDonald's. Now we're a few commercials into tier 2, we're moving along, things are good, and yet I still could not move on from one thing.
You got the blankets, the sheets.
We'll put the lawsuit in that video. Wait, there's a lawsuit? Ashley, what are you throwing at me right now? Did you know in 1979, Bedding Barn was sued because they wanted to have their stores open on Sundays, but competing Caldor's department store didn't want to lose out on business because they were closed due to religious reasons? What? How is that a lawsuit? It sounds like Bedding Barn is the good guy in this. Am I wrong? Here is me thinking I accidentally unleashed a curse on everyone watching my stream. It's kind of a ghost story that the ad is cursed and you will die if you watch it. Oh! This is what's known as the cursed Kleenex commercial, and it really does feel pretty haunting. A little kid dressed as a troll sits with a woman in a white dress as they pull tissues out of a tissue box and release them into the wind while equally haunting vocals play in the background.
It's going to be a fine night tonight.
There's a long urban legend surrounding this commercial about how the child died after filming this due to being poisoned from the body paint, which led the actress to suffer from a complete mental breakdown and getting locked away in an insane asylum. Other theories say that everyone who was on set while filming this all eventually died, and that anyone who watches it will die in 7 days too. I could go into more details, but I won't because it's all debunked. The woman is a known Japanese actress who is still alive. I watched the commercial myself, and I don't want to disappoint anybody, but here is me 7 days later, still alive. I'm so sorry. Still, this ad feels like it's following me. When I was at a housewarming party the other day, the DJ was playing a song that I immediately recognized was sampling the vocals from the Kleenex commercial. I can't play the song because it's by Skrillex. Maybe I can just play 1 second of it. Wait a minute. That's in that cursed Kleenex commercial. Okay, there you go. That's all you get. I need a palate cleanser from the curse. You got it, buddy.
What a groovy place to lay your head. You got them on, you got them on, you got them.
What a groovy place to lay your head. I never would consider a mattress groovy. I think we're all immune to the cursed Kleenex commercial because we've already been cursed by the bedding barn. Can only be cursed once. Fear is a powerful motivator. This Japanese Nicorette commercial from 2002 is living proof. Oh my God, this looks crazy. I've never smoked a cigarette before, but this one ad compels me to stay far away from those things. Do not ever let that man creep up behind me at a park bench. But if he does, I'm packing some Nicorette gum and throwing those things at him like grenades. A nice family hops in the car for a day trip, and when everybody's buckled in, Dad starts the engine and the radio turns on, which is playing a very vulgar song in English. The non-English speaking parents are oblivious to what the lyrics mean and bop to the beat, while the two daughters in the backseat snicker at each other, knowing full well how R-rated the tune is because of their language lessons at Sozeman Language Institute. It's a clever ad, and my first thought was that there's no way this song exists in real life. But it does exist, and I know this because after my stream ended, I was immediately hit with a copyright claim from the song owner. It's this kid's birthday, and when one of his friends gifts him something, all the kids get really excited. When his mom brings in his birthday cake and everyone starts singing, he completely wigs out on her for getting him a sponge cake for his birthday. His newfound attitude is because he has become an instant rock star after being gifted jam sessions on Nintendo DS. In the chat, Simp Bartson pointed out that, oddly enough, this profanity-laced commercial was for a G-rated video game. A man absolutely coats himself in a body fragrance, turning him into a questionably presented chocolate man. He struts around town and all the women are dying to get a piece of him because with his new body spray, he is as irresistible as chocolate. Terrifying? Yes. Seeing that this was for Lynx body spray brought me back involuntarily to my high school locker room where every single guy was spraying that god-awful mist. If you weren't there, just know that high school in the 2010s had a smell. It was Lynx, and it was bad. What's made to look like a relic from 1920s cinema, Beware the Judderman begins with a creepy puppet show that dissolves into live action, where we meet the dreaded Judderman, a spooky forest creature who lures unsuspecting travelers to his lair with a bottle of Metz schnapps. And it's here that the travelers are turned into the Judderman's puppets. A lot of people remember this scaring the crap out of them when they were little, and someone recalls that it may have been banned too, but it's not confirmed if that's the case. Still, it did rank in the top scariest moments on Channel 4 of that year. People in the comments have it right. This is a good, well-crafted kind of creepiness. This mobile carrier from France decided to advertise their company like this. One ad features a guy at a skate park jamming to that song Shooting Stars by Bag Raiders, which leads to his head detaching from his body, his ears ballooning into wings and flying away through the clouds. The next ad is a bit weirder, taking us to a high school hallway where something on a girl's phone makes her smile and smile and smile until her whole jaw unhinges. Her friend looks at the cursed phone and the same thing happens to her. Then we hear that classic tagline.
99.
This commercial hit me with a wave of nostalgia. This shark looks up to see a Hostess cupcake floating above him, and what he thinks is a cupcake is actually a sunbathing woman in a floaty and one-piece swimsuit that has a resemblance to the squiggles on top of a Hostess. When the shark bites at her and sends her shooting into the sky, the shark disappointedly asks the famous question,
Hey, where's the cream filling?
The legendary mind behind The Room got his start on camera doing Shakespeare in a commercial for jeans. It's cool to see that even before he struck gold with The Room, Tommy Wiseau always had that strange speaking cadence and strange editing choices.
So to be a street fashion.
Street Fashions USA was a discount jeans store in San Francisco, started by Tommy Wiseau after working his way up from selling yo-yos on Fisherman's Wharf. Tommy started by renting retail space in the building, but eventually owned the whole dang property, the rooftop of which was used for filming The Room. The Disaster Artist by Greg Sestero covers Tommy Wiseau's mysterious life story, but just know that The Room was self-funded by Wiseau himself, and had it not been for these advertisements and this jean business, The Room would have never been made. The Street Fashions USA era Tommy asks in the commercial,
Who do you want to be?
Not knowing at the time that he would eventually become who he always wanted to be, an award-winning filmmaker. Dreams that began with Jeems. In this commercial for Nurofen, we see the pain of headaches represented in many ways. A woman's brain caught in the middle of a tug of war, a sumo wrestler stomping on top of a car, an opera singer who uses NRG Mobile. But thankfully, our protagonist uses Nurofen and now feels like her headaches wash away like the tide. This commercial from the future introduces us to an android who is stronger and smarter than us, but surprisingly is envious of us humans because we feel feelings. And although the android will live on forever, us humans can too by simply doing one thing. And then it shows the tagline, "Keep walking, Johnny Walker." This got me absolutely fired up because I did not know what they were actually trying to advertise. You could change the world by just going on walks. Man, I'm big into going on strolls. Johnny Walker, it's not shoes, is it? Johnny Walker, something tells me that that's an alcohol of some sorts. Yeah, whiskey. Yeah, so it's not, I thought it was about shoes. It's not about shoes. Okay, remember how I said there would be more Humpty Dumpty commercials? This won't be the last time we see Humpty Dumpty. Yes. Here is a way too realistic depiction of Humpty Dumpty, looking very well dressed, sitting atop a skyscraper. But then his little golf hat goes flying off. Now he's contemplating a lot of heavy thoughts before he takes the plunge. Things are not looking good for Dumpty as he's careening through the sky until suddenly it's revealed that he's connected to a bungee cord that lifts him up as he lets out a little... I might be alone here. I got emotionally attached to the little fella. This ad was created by Aardman Animations of Wallace and Gromit fame, among other things. It also features Humpty Dumpty and is also for Easter candy. Which one was better? Humpty 1 or Dumpty 2? The first one was, that's my Dumpty. Rejuvenique electric facial mask. Now, I'm not normally one of those guys who calls everything cursed. But this, a woman in a silk nightgown sitting beside a fireplace wearing a mask while sexy sax music plays softly in the background and a voice is talking to me saying weird things like,
"Get ready for a real treat."
These are all the hallmarks of a cursed 90s commercial. And I know if I walked into the living room at night and saw this woman sitting there like that, in that posture, I'd assume there's body parts in that fireplace. Skittles has been a champion of making unpleasant commercials. This one was new to me, but I immediately recognized Mac's mom from It's Always Sunny, but I wasn't familiar with the other two actors in the commercial. This guy and this still in use umbilical cord. The mom is eating Skittles, and through the magical power of this umbilical cord, her son is able to correctly guess which flavor Skittle she is eating, showcasing the unbreakable bond between mother, son, and Skittle. Speaking of unbreakable bonds, this commercial for Mike's Hard Iced Tea takes us to an office setting with a man in his cubicle complaining that he's grown a second evil head. His kind coworker suggests one way to feel better is if they go get a refreshing Mike's Hard Iced Tea. The comments in here are kind of strange. Everybody's like really hype about this commercial. So awesome. I love this commercial. Best commercial ever. You know, that's all right. What is going on in the background of this commercial? While a mother is calmly knitting, she then goes to help her young daughter dry off after taking a bath, and the faintest sound of a TV emergency alert can be heard playing in the house. YouTube user Don Frogger bumped the audio way up and added subtitles to reveal that local governments have declared martial law. The president asks US citizens to find safety and remain calm. Authorities are working on a plan to contain the outbreak. Crazy enough as is, but then there's a sharp time jump to 80 years in the future to display a reversal of roles, with the aged mother being dried off by the now fully grown daughter. This was all too much for my small brain. In the AARP cinematic universe, the government has declared martial law. The president is speaking on it and saying for citizens to stay indoors and remain calm because of an outbreak, and this woman is knitting! And it seems like the outbreak lasts so long that her child becomes 80. That kid aged 80 years in a matter of one shower? Are they at the beach that turns people old? That's her mom? No. No. Is it? Oh. I think I get it now. I found this one on the Obscure Media subreddit with the OP asking, is this the most insane commercial ever? After watching the ad, it definitely plays out like the internal monologue of a serial killer. The commercial from 1971 starts with a close-up black and white shot of a man staring straight ahead as the narrator says,
"Let's look at all the different men you are. Let's go inside your head."
Then begins a fantasy of a woman waiting for you all week until Saturday night comes along and you're wearing a Van Heusen body shirt. Eerie music plays as this man follows a woman to wherever they're going. We never find out because now we're a businessman holding neon cubes, wearing the most scientifically fitted shirt Van Heusen's ever made. Now we're on a beach next to the biggest horse that's ever lived because Van Heusen makes body shirts for all the different feelings in your head and all the heads in your freezer. I added that last part. I was quickly creeped out by this ad with a woman singing about Desmond the dog, who hears his name and shuffles into frame. But then the woman offers this mannequin dog a sip of her beverage, which who even does that? And this brings Desmond the dog to life. And then things get meta as he tears up the soundstage of the commercial being filmed, eventually turning on the woman who started this whole thing, going for her big hammy behind. I liked this one. It started off kind of creepy, and then I kind of liked it once it got meta. Well past Joey. Enjoy this while you can, because as we moved into tier 4, moderator Turtleboy was already giving me a warning of what was to come. Yes, just a warning for everyone. There are a lot of jump scares in this tier. God damn it. Tier 4 didn't start off all that bad. In fact, we made a new friend with truly the nicest looking skeleton I've ever seen, telling us all about how you can record anything with the new technology of home videotapes. Our guy is so hype about Scotch videotapes and their lifetime guarantee, he even does a little dance number. I didn't have the heart to tell him that videotapes would not outlive its many successors, but good news, Mr. Skeleton. According to this article, even though Scotch stopped selling VHS tapes in the 90s, the company that made Scotch videotapes, 3M, still honors that lifetime guarantee and will send you a free audio cassette tape if you mail them an old videotape. And the ad was a nice reminder of how sick VHS tape cover art once was. Skittles, Newlyweds, not safe for work. I clicked on the link for this next one and I found that the video was taken down on account of nudity or sexual content. When I found a new link and watched the commercial, I quickly understood why. Newlyweds are celebrating after their wedding, but even for the Skittles brand, this was vulgar. But then I read the video title and it says it's not affiliated with Skittles, so it's not an official commercial, so it shouldn't even be in this video. But kudos to them for making it so close to the real deal and getting me to spend more time trying to learn about commercials that should not exist and accidentally learning about commercials that don't exist. And this was already an issue because there's a lot of fake commercials in this Iceberg chart. I'm trying to keep the video to only real commercials, which was more tough than you'd think because the fake ones look so legit and the real ones look so fake. So when I tell you this next one almost completely derailed the whole video, this is called Poopsie Slime Surprise. I can't play the actual music in this ad because of copyright, but it's a pop song that kind of goes, don't make me do it. I'm gonna do it. Poopsie, 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 poopsie surprise unicorn. And then later on it goes, now put her on the potty. You won't believe your eyes, put her on the potty. Is this real? Is this real? I couldn't believe this was real, especially because I had been fooled too many times already, but it's so freaking real. They're $160 on Amazon. What are we doing? Mom, can you get me that toy that poops? I have a sister, and believe me, there's a long story of toys that poop. Really? I have a devil and an angel on each shoulder right now. I don't know if it's the devil or the angel, and that's why this is tough on me. One shoulder is telling me, move on. The other shoulder is telling me, invest several more hours tonight on all of the toys that poop. Yeah, I have one shoulder telling me to move on, and then I have another shoulder telling me to put her on the potty. There's a music video where they sing about poop as well. Am I really about to make a poop toy iceberg? We gotta move on. We gotta move on. That's for another time. It's for another time. We'll watch the commercial one more time and then we're moving on. You won't believe your eyes. Put her on the potty. It's the idea of encouraging kids to play with poop. There's something fucked about that, right? You know what will help me get my mind off of this, actually?
You got that man, you got that man, you got the big red bun, you got the discount price and it feels so nice. Buy at the betting barn near you.
I'm back. Needed it. I am not mentally prepared to move on. That's the truth. We're going to do it anyway. I'm going to click on this commercial even though mentally I am not here right now. This doesn't feel like a commercial. Fuck you. I should have gone on the side quest. Oh boy. It was an ad for chocolate. You missed the bit at the end. Oh, I'm sorry. If there's another jump scare here, I'm going to probably pass out. Yeah, I'm gonna get scared. Yes, there is a jump scare, and yes, I did cheat by covering my eyes a bit. Yeah, and look at that, it's not even a commercial. It's a closing bumper for a Chilean state-owned broadcasting service. It's not a commercial. I got a headache, bro. Okay, 2 screamers back to back. There's no way there would be 3 in a row. Girl on bike. If there's another jump scare here, Ow! That one was maybe the worst one. You know what, though? I'll give them credit. It's a jump scare for a good reason. It's an ad for a Fright Night. That's when you do the jump scare. I should have known. It's always those, like, the titles are always weird like that. Girl on a Bike. That's the name of the commercial? Girl on a Bike? Yeah. Girl on a Bike. All right, you guys ready for this? Jump scare. What is this? I don't care if you think this is cute or creepy. This is just not a practical money jar, and the ad makes that very clear. Over the course of the whole 42-second ad, they only got through 3 coins. Still, I had to have it. Honestly, so far, just as advertised. 2 AA batteries, no problem. Oh shit, it's already moving. Let's start with the dime. Okay, it just fell right through. The gap is actually much larger than I thought. It doesn't even move when you put the coin in. Grip it with your mouth, dude. Nope. I don't know, it's not very satisfying. Again, just like the gap in his mouth is, okay. Oh, my finger! Well, this ad features some cold-blooded murder by some freaky-looking putty people. At a backyard barbecue with the Puttermans, one battery-powered guest is a little too chatty for them before she just drops dead in her bowl of linguine. The culprit, Herb, is questioned by others if he slipped her an off-brand battery instead of a Duracell one, and he slyly confesses to the crime, which sends everyone into an uproar of laughter. I have a feeling this one's scary. Yeah, but the house looks creepy. Someone's staking out this house so they can do a crime. But who is it, and what crime have they chosen to do? Well, look who it is, the Rejuvenique electric facial mask lady. And her crime? Breaking and entering, but also noticing the young lady is suffering from a sore throat and supplying her with a Hall's Mint cough drop. What a kind gesture that unfortunately backfires on the intruder, giving the woman a supersonic scream which overpowers the electric facial mask lady and giving us satisfying closure on her 2 commercial story arc. Wilkinson Sword Quattro Titanium. Fight for Kisses the game. This one lost my trust just from reading the title. All right, we're about to fight for some kisses, bro. Hit me with a jump scare of smooches. All right, so this fake trailer for a fake video game that starts off with this guy in his boxer briefs watching his wife show motherly affection to their brand new baby, which he just cannot stand. So he said, I'm sick of this baby getting all my wife's attention, and the only way to get it back is by shaving my face. And the only thing that can do that is Wilkinson Sword Quattro Titanium razors. Wow, look, he's as smooth as his baby son, who he wants to beat up, by the way. And the baby now wants to beat up his dad too, which kicks off a badass training montage showing that the baby's got moves, all leading up to the ultimate showdown in the name of kisses. We concluded this means you're only as likable as the smoothness of your face, which is why I choose to remain unlikable. Shout out to all the haters. Look away, Universal Pictures. Someone has taken your IP and blew it out of the water. One industry that knows how the hell to make a good commercial is the local car dealership industry. And JT's willing to go the extra mile to sell you a Jeep by putting his body and possibly his bank account on the line to impersonate the intellectual property of Gru from Despicable Me. Comment of the day goes to this one. Facebook moms are gonna lose their minds over this. But JT knew what he was doing. And whether he was hit with a lawsuit or not, his commercial has over 3 million views at the moment on YouTube. This commercial was banned from airing on television. The ad is for the soda Tango and shows a fan at a soccer match who is given cryptic messages by a couple of ghosts trying to warn him not to drink his can of Tango. He doesn't listen, and his whole head flies off of his body and he lets out a scream. According to this newspaper snippet, the ad was banned from airing during children's programs and was given the adult-only tag. But this wasn't Tango's first rodeo with banned ads. This was actually the 3rd time that a Tango commercial faced these sort of issues. Another one had Tango's mascot smacking someone in the ears, which doctors warned that kids would damage their hearing from reenacting. And the controversy is almost certainly intentional, because with the help of these ads, Tango's soft drink market share doubled. In the 2007 Orenzina Naturally Juicy commercials, we got a voluptuous anthropomorphic deer swinging in a forest when a frisky bear spots her and starts putting on the moves. From there, things get out of hand. The whole animal kingdom joins in on the erotic dance party, and it just keeps going. This ad is almost 2 minutes long. It's a baffling thing to watch, especially since this 3D modeling is very impressive. The marketing team must have noticed that no one in the French orange soda industry has tried to appeal to the furry community yet, yet and jumped crotch first at the opportunity. And from what I can tell, the furry community loves it. The making of video shows how much time, talent, and brainpower went into this. Makes you appreciate even the bizarre works of art a little bit more, so thank you to WikiFur for helping me find this, and thank you to this iceberg for making me go to corners of the internet I never wanted to visit. Moving right along to another ad with non-humans doing sexy stuff, here comes Hooper's Hooch with their stripping fruits. I love this description on the Cursed Commercials wiki, which says, the ad begins with a lemon stripping off his skin, then a woman who is a bunch of grapes kisses the screen and takes her dress off, revealing her grape boobs. Probably the most explicit commercial in the whole dang iceberg, and it's a bunch of fruit. And watching this gave me more shame than the Orangina one, and that says a lot. Noble Came Sours. It was my most reoccurring nightmare. Getting chased by a giant turtle, then losing control of my legs. The face of this turtle mascot seems intentionally deformed to represent the sour taste of these flavored sour candies, which this kid gives one thumb up before holding hands with the turtle for a nice walk by the river. How lovely. In one of the genuinely creepy commercials on here, this ad takes us to a horrifying black and white dimension, home to this supernatural creature known in Japanese culture as a Rokurokubi, which is a demon spirit that is a woman's body with a never-ending hypnotic spiraling neck. It's of course for a men's entertainment magazine. Legend has it this commercial was pulled from television because it has a ghost in it. 6 little kids are prancing through a forest in a single file line as an advertisement for a railway corporation. When this first aired, people noticed in one shot, you can see for a split second that at the end of the line, there's an extra kid with their head down and long hair covering their face. This sparked an urban legend that the little girl was a ghost and that the commercial was banned for being haunted. A bit dramatic if you ask me, but that's what urban legends are for. This post on the Hong Kong subreddit from 6 years ago has a few possible explanations. For one, this user remembers the legend originating as a joke on a radio show hosted by music duo Soft and Hard Masters. They say they do believe the ad was pulled due to how far the rumor spread. And for the mystery of the ghost girl, this user broke it down to a simple continuity error. So I think we have nothing to worry about, everyone. This Venezuelan commercial freaked me out. I don't even think this first thing is a part of the ad, but the corrupted video file starts with a horrifying shot of a man with a wide grin. From here, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on in this ad for the powdered chocolate drink toddy because the quality is pretty bad, but I think an older woman is cleaning her plants when a kid picks her up in an awkward, borderline inappropriate way. Crossfade into a new scene with them inside, and when the kid stands up, pause it, through the threshold of the door, there's a short, glowing figure standing there with an animal. One legend says that there was no girl in the shot or even on set for this production. To support this claim, the kid in the commercial only makes 2 glasses of toddy for him and the older woman. So they believe the image on screen was the ghost of a girl who had died inside the house where this was filmed. Not saying I agree with this theory, but there's not many commercials in this series that really left me feeling unsettled like this. And if anything bad ever happens to me, I'm blaming it on this guy. This commercial shares a mother's testimonial for the Chilean TV network Megavision. I was immediately skeptical though and was expecting a jump scare. We went through it and I found nothing the first few watches, but the chat kept telling me to look closer. This was the most normal commercial. Was something happening in the back? It's specifically in the background. You have to look closely at one of the windows. God damn it, I don't want to. And I'm scared to look. I'm not cut out for this, man. Eventually, I learned that at 21 seconds in the ad, a skull's reflection can be seen in the window behind the mom. That's not that bad. I see it now. There's our guy. Once I saw it, I did not shit bricks. That is really subtle, man. Carb Solutions baby shower. A user posted to the Tip of My Tongue subreddit sharing what was remembered to be a candy bar ad that aired in 1999 or 2000 of a baby shower, and a lady turns into a demon, then returns to normal when she's given a candy bar. Although no one in the thread could find the ad in question, some mentioned that others had been asking about the same commercial. The hunt for this lost ad lasted for years, with invested community members diving as deep as they could everywhere they could. Looking through the archives of this mystery, the surprising part is how much accurate detail people could provide off of memory alone. It's like everyone could remember everything about the ad except the brand's actual name, which made sense once the commercial was found and they figured out it was for a protein bar from the company Carb Solutions. Very forgettable name if you ask me. The baby shower ad was spotted in a video uploaded in 2011 that featured 4 commercials that aired on CBS on March 9th, 2001. So here it is, the demon lady at a baby shower. The taste of victory in the lost media community was sweet. Even though some sounded a bit underwhelmed by the commercial they've built up in their head as this disturbing, twisted demon lady, only to find it wasn't that scary at all. Dogs are fun, dogs are cute, dogs are crazy. They pee sometimes and bother the kids trying to watch TV and eat trash that you should have put away and get kidnapped by men in beanies and taken into a wet underground tunnel. Quick question, what's scary, bounces, and has a face only a mother could love? Ugly Balls. Bonkers is now a discontinued candy that offered with purchase these hideous face balls. What you could once get for mailing back 10 wrappers, you can now get on eBay for $50 a pop. This auto insurance commercial has a stylish man parallel parking, and doing a great job, might I add, as a fellow parking whiz myself. But as good of a job as he did, he's not satisfied and goes in for another try. Now content with his parking, he walks off just moments before a grand piano falls on his parked car. I was told by one of our mods to not watch this next ad. I'm gonna watch this. I gotta fucking do it. What's going on here? The scent jar, cutie patooties. She's selling a jar with her hair in it? What? Wait. Is she farting in jars and selling it? Sealed to retain freshness. Listen, I know a thing or two about fart jars, and she did not do it correctly. She took way too long to seal it. You gotta do that immediately. You gotta toot, and then immediately close it. And then you gotta store it away. What am I doing in my spare time? I'm making fart jars. No, come on. We were all young boys at one time. We all had, I remember one time doing it with my friends. We farted in a jar, circled back a couple weeks later and opened it. It was horrible. I mean, it was horrific. Like it's worse than I thought it was going to be. Hand numbered 1 to 1,000. And also she autographs it. That's nice. Obviously she has a very passionate fan base. I have to imagine if they're buying toot jars from her. How much are they going for? I'm not interested in buying them. I can produce my own fart jars myself. I'm very good at it. Oh my God, they are $400 on a discount from $1,000. All sold out. Mad respect to this creator. And I thought we reached our peak when people were selling jars of sand from the spot Tom Brady filmed his retirement video, or when someone tried selling bag of air from Kobe's final game. But this tops all of that. I was confused with this ad. It's 15 seconds of a man playing Game Boy on the bus with a woman walking past him down the aisle. Then I was really confused when I saw it had 800,000 views. Translating the comments, people were pointing out that there's a creepy pale woman standing outside a window of the bus and even seems to glitch for a split second. A few other comments mentioned that the ad was banned from airing, though I couldn't confirm why or if that's even true. This guy is shopping in Osaka when he spotted this ridiculous commercial of a sassy woman's face superimposed on a bunch of goldfish, judging everyone who walks by.
What the fuck?
This was when Super Bowl commercials were actually good. When Puppy Monkey Baby first aired, everyone was talking about this hit from Mountain Dew, mostly just to double check they didn't hallucinate seeing this. A lot of outlets crowned Puppy Monkey Baby the winner of all 2016 Super Bowl commercials. Most of the discussion around the ad was how bizarre Puppy Monkey Baby was. There's a line between cute and horrifying. That line was crossed. But for a brand like Mountain Dew, that's kind of the whole objective, so this was a huge win. Man, if you thought the final product was scary, don't look at this puppet render or behind the scenes photos. That's how you do it. Give me a super weird commercial. And look at that, everybody on that couch, no celebrities and no meta reference to pop culture. It's a Punky Monkey Baby. The award for most uncomfortable commercial ever might go to this one for kids sandals. First, it's just a woman talking about how you're gonna fall in love with these shoes. She gives them a little smooch. Weird, but okay. Then there's little girls raving about how much they love these shoes, and at first it's just over the top, but it just keeps going and it gets obscene. The direction of this ad with a bunch of little girls in it is like, it's raunchy. No. I didn't like that. The director of this commercial is the one that uploaded it to YouTube, which is probably why the comments are turned off. I'm assuming most of them had a similar response to us, and it also has almost 1 million views. This sandal commercial almost took the air out of the room. What I didn't know at the time was that right around the corner, a hero was waiting in the wing to save the day. Little John's Derby Jewelry Super Gold Man.
I'm Super Gold Man, the fairest in the land. I'm taking you to Little John's, broken use a smash, he pays you cash. So bring it in and get your cash today. He wants to buy your own jewelry. in and get your cash today.
I'm Little John. Don't mail it in.
Dude, I love this. I don't know how to put it into words. I just love it so much. Local commercials, these are people that normally are not on camera. And so when they have an opportunity, not just to be on camera, but to celebrate and promote their lives' work, they're taking their opportunity and making the most of it. They are a blast to work with and have outrageous ideas. I'm so happy to hear that the people in this commercial are cool. I'm gonna go as far to say that that was my favorite commercial that we've watched. The jingle itself, so good. The aesthetic, my brand to a T. The characters, I'm rooting for them. I trust them. Can we watch it one more time? I love this shot. This guy in the coat, he understands the assignment of the fact that they're flying. He understands that Super Goldman, been there, done that. Flies all the time. But how many times does a civilian have that opportunity? And he's in awe. Look at these fucking boots, man. Those platform boots. I don't want to make any assumptions, but I feel like the jewelry business can be really sketchy. Pawn shops or all the way up to the high class, luxury jewelry stores, both ends of the spectrum, no matter where you shop at, I would feel nervous about making such a big purchase. I don't feel nervous with this guy. The more I think about it, the more I like this guy. He isn't even the star of his own local commercial. He wanted his friends to be, man. This commercial is so much more than a commercial for a business. It's a celebration of friendship. Look at this. I'm tearing up just thinking about it, man. I will fly out to Kentucky just to be in a commercial with you and be a fourth dude just right here. A man who appears lost walks upon a big home and creeps in, investigating each room. He walks into one where a coffin lays inside, which he lifts open to find a vampire. So he pulls out his phone and records the vampire saying,
"I want to suck your blood."
And yay, now this is his ringtone for his ex-wife. And it glows in the dark. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. Was this a brutal death captured on camera? This video was pulled from YouTube for being too graphic, and that compels me to not show the full thing, although I don't think it's that bad. But it is a magician accidentally chopping his wife's head off in a tragic botched illusion. From the sounds of it, when this first appeared online in 2011, viewers watched a magician trying to pull off the classic sawing a woman in half trick, only to see the horror slowly unfold as the magician doesn't realize he's actually cutting her body apart. First sawing off her lower half, then decapitating her. I found threads from 13 years ago of people seriously debating what they saw. I even found posts from 8 months ago. But this video you're watching right now is not about accidental deaths, it's about commercials. So you already knew that's what this was. It's an ad with a title card at the end that says 1,000 euros per head, with a Slavic link that isn't active anymore, but some say it was to a mannequin store, and others, including this YouTube comment, say it was for a credit card ad campaign, with the website translating to a card full of money. But when I translated it, Google said it was a card full of, well, and this Redditor makes a good observation. The accident doesn't appear anywhere on the official sawing a woman in half wiki page, and if it's not on Wikipedia, did it ever even happen? This milk commercial has been deemed cursed. Bear brand sterilized milk filmed this ad in the late 80s with an old man recollecting memories of him dancing with his grandmother and drinking Bear brand sterilized milk with his family. In the present, he is sharing this story now with his granddaughter, or granddaughters. They dance and dance just like the old days, which of course calls for a round of milk for him and his granddaughters. Or granddaughter? There's only one kid now again. This continuity error spawned an urban legend that spread about how this second girl with the bow tie was supposed to be in the commercial, but got sick and passed away right before filming began. So she wasn't really there during filming, but her ghost appeared in the footage afterwards, which, like, come on. It was enough for people to dive down the rabbit hole and search for truth, and users like John here did the heavy lifting. He says in college, he and friends researched this urban legend and found that the bow tie girl just wasn't there some days of filming because she couldn't miss school. The director still wanted to let her be included in the final cut, which led to the continuity error of a girl appearing then disappearing in the scene. John says that once the ghost rumors started spreading, the company decided to pull out the commercial in fear that it would affect sales. Bit of a silly witch hunt, but it's inspired creators like iRepublic here to create pretty sweet analog horror videos out of it. The Daisy Mark Jacobs ad shows 3 women in a beautiful, endless field of green, hugging and smiling and frolicking as the drugs start kicking in. The first time around, I didn't think it was that weird, but the second time, I did feel a little tripped out. Those perfume bottles are gigantic, and these gals are just so laid back, it's making me think this perfume has LSD in it. And then they just start saying the word Daisy.
Daisy, 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 Daisy.
I wouldn't say I was creeped out by this ad, but it has the feel of the opening scene to a horror movie when everything seems too peaceful with an evil lurking in the distance. I would say this is the most mysterious commercial ever made, but it's so mysterious, we don't even know for sure it was really made. And this investigation has been ongoing for 20 years. It started in 2004 on the Message Board 2 channel, where users were discussing creepy commercials. One user mentioned a commercial they saw when they were young that still haunts them. Their description talks of two all-white human figures next to one another in front of a dark background. The toll of a bell rings throughout the video as the figures flicker in and out like railroad crossing lights. Text appears that reads something to the ominous tune of "every 2 seconds, someone dies." It's an equally specific yet vague description, leading online sleuths to believe it might have been a PSA for railway safety. A few people seem to recall a commercial like the one described, but many of their reports have conflicting details, making me wonder if this is a bunch of people thinking they're talking about the same thing, but everyone's remembering something else. And this is a distorted soup of all those collected memories. Over the past 2 decades, this hunt for the mysterious commercial has only accelerated, with more detectives on the case today, more lost media enthusiasts mentally invested than ever before. And despite huge amounts of research by the community, there's been virtually no solid leads to what this was, and zero evidence to prove it exists at all. What I love most is that it's inspired artists to create their own interpretations of the details, to materialize this thing from the cosmic analog void into a tangible form. I'll leave the in-depth analysis for this to other YouTubers who have made thorough video essays about this. I'll link a couple in the description. I suggest checking those out if you're interested in diving deeper. The Lost Encarnacion de Chavez Filipino commercial has a similar story. From what people remember, it was a typical ad for a flower shop with shots zooming in on flowers and bouquets, while a narrator says, "When you care enough to send the best, say it with flowers from Encarnacion de Chavez." But the last shot of the commercial shows a woman in a red dress facing away from the camera. She turns around to present her wicked smile and wild hair while holding a rose up to her face. The first known mention of this commercial traces back to the site Pinoy Exchange, where people were talking about the commercial as early as 2000, when it was likely still airing regularly. There's been tons of posts on all the relevant sites and subreddits you can think of, asking if anyone has seen this ad, and plenty of people remember the commercial in question, but no one has any idea where to find it. The difference between this and the railway safety PSA mystery is that this one has a name attached to it, it supposedly played on TV for over a decade, there's way more people who remember watching it, and all of their recollections match, which I'd say makes this even more of a wild mystery because it has every reason to have been found at this point, yet no one knows where it is. These commercials put the company's CEO in prison. Remember these Enzyte commercials on Comedy Central in the early 2000s? To jog your memory, Smilin' Bob goes to a pool party, does an incredible dive off the diving board, and loses his swimsuit, but he's taking the natural male enhancement pill Enzyte and shows off his junk with pride. He's also gotten way better at golf now that his erectile function has been enhanced by Enzyte. Or has it? Is all of this newfound confidence all in his head? Yes, it is. In fact, not only was Enzyte proven to not provide any enhancements on male erectile function, but a study done at Loyola University Chicago found that Enzyte causes electrical abnormalities in the heart that could be potentially fatal in some people. In 2005, the offices of Enzyte's manufacturing company, Berkeley Premium Nutraceuticals, were raided, and the founder, Stephen Warshak, was indicted on charges related to defrauding customers of $100 million. He and his 75-year-old mom were found guilty of almost 100 counts of conspiracy, fraud, and money laundering. The former VP of operations had one of the most damning testimonies in the trial, saying the company's goal was to keep charging their customers' credit cards for as long as possible, and even admitted that part of their business strategy involved making small, unauthorized charges on customers' credit cards. If customers tried to cancel their subscription, employees were told to make it as difficult as possible to get their money back, even going as far as requiring them to submit a notarized statement from a doctor that the tablet didn't work, because Warshak thought this would deter customers from canceling because they'd be too humiliated to get an official doctor's note that said they have a small penis. Steven's mom avoided jail time, but BPN forfeited $500 million, and he was in prison from 2008 through his release in 2017. If there's one thing that puts a smile on my face, it's seeing the consequences of corporate greed in action. The face of a serial killer was used in a promotional video for the 2012 Olympic Games. It's 2008, Beijing has just wrapped up hosting the Olympics, and in a handoff ceremony to promote the next Summer Olympics that be hosted in London, a 3-minute video by Visit London was played, showcasing the rich culture London has to offer. And then, in a blink and you'll miss it moment, the face of a serial killer flashes on the screen. This is a famous painting of Myra Hendley, who, along with her partner Ian Brady, orchestrated the Moors murders, involving the sexual assault and murder of 5 children between 1963 and 1965. Hindley was sentenced to life in prison, and her mugshot became an iconic image in London's history. In 1995, artist Marcus Harvey recreated the mugshot into a 9 by 11 feet painting made with the handprints of an infant. It's considered by many to be the most controversial painting in British history. When displayed at the Royal Academy of Art in 1997, it was vandalized twice on just the first day. 4 Royal Academy members quit in protest, and even Myra herself was like, hey, maybe y'all should take that down. Think of the victims' families here. I want to stress that this isn't a critique of the painting itself. We could easily have a separate, engaging conversation about how we all feel about it. But this conversation is, can we all agree it makes no sense to put this in a hype video for the Olympics? So the inclusion of Myra in the promotional video sparked anger and just confusion. The London mayor had to make a statement disavowing the video, and the Visit London team tried to play it cool, basically saying, it was in there for just a second. I don't know why you all are making a big deal out of it. I guess we could take it out of the video, but nobody's complained about it before. After that, the video was never used or seen again, and the only footage of it that still exists is in this clip of the handoff ceremony from a Chinese news station, where the video is seen playing over the shoulder of a man being interviewed. A helicopter pilot tragically lost his life while filming a commercial directed by Michael Bay for the tool company Black & Decker in 1996. The helicopter was filming a simulated chase sequence in the Mojave Desert and had to navigate through a narrow opening between 2 rocky hills. During the second take, its blades clipped one of the hills. The aircraft began breaking apart while falling through the sky. Debris from the crash struck a crew member on the ground, cutting their leg and lower section, sending them to the hospital. The 2 co-pilots in the helicopter during the crash were longtime business partners. One of them was veteran pilot Michael Edward Tamburo. A senior air safety investigator for the National Transportation Safety Board claims that Tamburo may not have been wearing the required safety harness or helmet. He passed away from head injuries and a broken neck. The other co-pilot, Alan Perwin, who was sitting in the backseat of the cockpit, survived the crash with only a broken arm. The FAA opened an investigation into the incident and found the production company, Propaganda Films, did not have a permit to fly a helicopter that day. And based on their findings, Perwin was hit with restrictions on flying certain aircrafts and was sued by Tamburo's wife, who won a $7 million settlement. Perwin and Michael Bay continued working together on a lot of major film projects, but Perwin seemed to have gained a reputation in the industry for his flying. One expert called him, frankly, a terrible pilot, and saying it was his incompetence that killed his partner. 19 years later, Perwin lost his life in another aviation accident on September 11th, 2015, on board a plane that crashed in Colombia while working on the set of Tom Cruise's film American Made. Perwin and another pilot, Carlos Burrell, died in the crash, and both of their families would sue the movie producers and each other for wrongful death. A commercial airplane soars through a beautiful sunset. Inside the weirdly empty flight, there's a full row of businessmen sitting quietly, but the man in the middle is struggling to hold in a cough. A small cough he can't suppress contorts his face into demonic expressions. By the second cough, this guy isn't even trying anymore, and his head mutates into a rabid beast, and his screaming coughs morph into a maniacal laugh. He should have taken Delsum before the flight. This one is Mr. Bucket commercial. Oh my God. I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but the video is titled Mr. Bucket commercial, put your balls in my mouth. Sir? Okay, the title of the video is a lie and a complete misunderstanding of the rules of the Mr. Bucket game. You toss the balls in his top and then he spits the balls out of his mouth. It's even explained in the jingle. You could say the phrasing is inappropriate, but the game itself is what's ridiculous to me. This is no game. This is what every kid on the Little League team dreads at the end of batting practice. Was footage of a fatal skydiving accident seen in a Mountain Dew commercial? While filming a James Bond-themed ad for Mountain Dew, world-renowned skydiver Rob Harris was supposed to jump out of an exploding plane at 5,000 feet, cut his first parachute, then open a second chute. But Harris had trouble clearing the first parachute and may have pulled the wrong handle. 2 of the chutes tangled in air, causing him to fall to his death. When the Mountain Dew commercial aired featuring Harris performing part of his stunt, rumors spread online that this was the final take when Harris died seconds seconds later. Even the New York Times reported that the Mountain Dew commercial featured Harris's final jump, which is not true. The final product shows footage from a jump Harris made earlier in the day. PepsiCo asked for permission from Rob's parents to use the footage. They sounded a bit uncomfortable with it, but consented because Rob would have wanted it, and his friends really looked forward to seeing it, and so do we. So no, this is not footage of the fatal accident. Still, it is haunting to watch, knowing that these were his final hours before he would pass away doing the same stunt later that day. And maybe just unfortunate coincidence, but Propaganda Films was also involved with this production. You may remember them from the Black & Decker helicopter tragedy that occurred less than a year later. Rob Harris and his cameraman Joe Jennings, who was filming the jump, were considered the best of the best in the competitive skydiving world, with Harris being the reigning back-to-back sky surfing world champion. They had skydived together almost 150 times a month. Jennings today has an active YouTube channel with incredible skydiving stunt videos, including one of Rob Harris where you can see the undeniable chemistry he and Jennings had in the air together. This is the worst commercial of all time or the best commercial of all time, depending on who you ask. In the Engelman insurance commercial, two women are cruising along when the driver slams on the brakes, then we hear something big has dropped onto the car. When the fearful passenger asks the driver if she has auto insurance and she says no, that's when it hits them.
It must be Engelman.
There he is, standing on her roof's car, plopping out a giant egg. She lifts her arms, scared of egg. Hatching from within is a giant baby bird, holding in its mouth some paperwork. The friends are mystified and let out an over-enthusiastic,
Oh, look at those low rates.
Eagle Insurance, the Chicago auto insurance business, made this in 1993, and according to the team that produced it, RDR Productions, this ran almost a decade and spawned 3 sequels, a Spanish dubbed version, tons of honors like 4th worst commercial ever by The Smoking Fun, and has been celebrated on several TV shows like David Letterman and The Soup. There's also a few solid shot-for-shot remakes out there. Best of all, a high school production class made a Making of Eagleman mini documentary that reveals the identity of Eagleman, and it's the CEO. He says the company was 30 days away from closing down when the idea of Eagleman came to him in a dream. It also provides behind-the-scenes footage that shows the actresses having fun, clearly aware of how silly all of it was. Godspeed, Eagleman. You made a guy whose last name sounds similar to yours very proud. This is not the Mr. Potato Head we know from Toy Story. Jesus Christ. Even as a 30-year-old, I wouldn't want to be alone in a room with this giant monstrosity, but the kids look excited to be there, so maybe I'm just a wuss. The twisted laugh, the saucy strut, that cross-eyed stare, and above all else, the toy itself, not for me. It's a toy that lasts 15 seconds. You put the ears on, you put the nose on, you put the eyes on, you put the mouth on. Now what? What's the fun in that? Did this Baby Bottle Pops commercial predict Bitcoin? No. No, it didn't. But almost 20 years ago, this giant baby is wearing a gold chain with a B on it that does look similar to the Bitcoin logo. And that was enough for tens of millions of people to watch these 2 ads and lose their minds. I think what's even weirder than a Bitcoin baby from the 90s is that the top comments on both of these YouTube videos are from the same person 1 year apart with virtually the same comment. This old candy company wishes they were future-telling giant babies. Maybe it would have saved them from naming their candy AIDS.
When I sometimes want things loaded with calories, AIDS helps put me in control.
And there's no stimulant in AIDS that could make you nervous.
Just real unfortunate. Was the looming AIDS disease crisis going to be a blowtorch that melted this AIDS candy craze? Let's ask their president. The president of the company that manufactured it stated that the sales had increased as a result of the connection. Lies. The lies. The product has been around for 45 years. Let the disease change its name. Nope, we called dibs. We called dibs on AIDS. In 1988, the product and its name had been sold, and the leadership announced that the company was seeking a new name because the sales had dropped as much as 50%. There we go. Attempts to rebrand as AIDS Slim and Diet AIDS. No, they did not call it Diet AIDS. That was a fun little history lesson. This might be the best commercial in the bunch. Andreas Roth created a 3.5-minute ad for the vacuum company Dirt Devil, and the quality of it was so high that I thought it was fake, which was an issue while making this entire iceberg. I think for this one, I'm not gonna ruin the twist for you. It's a slow burn with a worthy payoff at the end. All you need to know is it's about a pastor coming to an old secluded home to perform an exorcism. I'll have the link to the commercial in the description. It's an impressive work of filmmaking and a clever concept. And obviously with a 3.5-minute runtime, not your traditional commercial. commercial. According to the Dirt Devil Exorcist website, the results were massive. Tens of millions of views online, 52% jump in traffic to their website, and the claim of being the 5th most successful viral campaign of 2011, leading to a complete media volume of over $48 million. Although I don't really know what complete media volume means, but sounds like a lot. This began as one of my favorite commercials that we watched, but I started watching more of the commercials that this guy made, and it got weird. They were having a party, and then they were like, oh, by the way, while you're partying, we sell a lot of really cool high heels. Check them out, check them out, check them out. And then Woody Woodpecker shows up out of nowhere, uninvited, mind you, and says, oh my God, guys, there's a cockroach here. Don't worry, I got you. Squanch.
Oh, meu Deus, 10 anos! Eu ensinando a minha baratinha a dançar. Vem esse miserável e pisa nela. Eu vou te matar!
Essa aqui é a casa das delicinhas.
Oh, you killed his friend! You could see the pain in his eyes. I will say 10 out of 10, one of my favorite commercials. I mean, there's just so much going on. Bugs Bunny is in this commercial, and that is like the least interesting thing about it. And what's crazy is nobody's even wearing shoes in this commercial. He's barefoot. This kid's wearing socks. So later on, I found a channel with a bunch of commercials from Starshik featuring the same energetic man, each one just as unexplainable as the last, and always showcasing kids' flip-flops for sale. There's some crazy lore in here. Before he and Larry the Cockroach were friends, he himself tried to take him down. Then he fights off dinosaurs with laser beams that blast out of a sneaker, and in another, he lures a CGI baby into falling off of a table onto the floor. That's a little dark, right? The video description defends his actions, saying, the person who forgot the script for this commercial suffered a very traumatic betrayal, so what happens in this commercial is just a good-humored form of protest that he found to vent. What? One of these commercials also advertised their Instagram account, which I had to look up, and he's still doing what he loves, making videos advertising children's shoes. But these aren't all silly ads for shoes. I seriously don't know what to make of the videos on his Instagram account. They are sadistic. This shoe company is posting real videos of a calf being suffocated by a snake as an adult cow looks on in horror, a pig being drowned by a snake while another pig tries to save it, a truck flipping over and crushing an animal to death, and the Starshik guy is green screened in front, smiling, holding up women's shoes. I don't know what to make of these, man. This is not the guy who once cried about losing his cockroach friend. I don't have the heart to tell past Joey that Starshik uses graphic videos of animals dying as a marketing tactic. Look how happy past Joey is. Just let him stay in the dark with this one. You know what? I need a palate cleanser.
You got the barn, you got the barn, you got the bedding barn.
Deep in the forest, on a quiet, snowy day, a woman sits alone on a rock and happily sniffs her microwavable milk seafood noodle bowl. But an evil cheese man lurks nearby. There's a pepper man too. They have her surrounded. She screams. Cheese man sprays cheese into her noodle bowl. She screams. Pepper man sprays pepper in the noodle bowl. She screams. And this dance of cheese, scream, pepper, scream goes on until she finally tries a bite of her now cheesy, peppery noodle bowl. And she's a fan. Don't knock the milk, seafood, cheese, and pepper combo, because folks like the taste too, comparing it to a carbonara dish. If you love golf and have a small bladder, with this invention, you can now pee right into your 7-iron. This is so fake. It's not. It's real. It's real? Yes. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Created by neuroscientist Dr. Floyd Seskin, he and his product made it all the way to Shark Tank to present his Euro Club. The sharks loved it though, laughing through his whole presentation, which tells you a lot because I'd say this is absolutely the target audience for this gag gift. One of the few concerns expressed by the sharks though comes from Damon John, who worried with the amount of beverages men drink on the golf course, the club wouldn't be able to fit all their pee. Kevin Harrington secured a deal of $25,000 for 70% of the company. This pitch was from season 1 of Shark Tank back in 2009, and today in 2024, the business is still operating. You can buy it on Amazon. Broken? My Euro Club didn't work. Funny gift, but a bit fragile. I don't think you're supposed to actually pee in it, guys. I wouldn't want to swing that after I peed in it. I'd buy it only if the company offers to pay all legal fees if you're arrested for public indecency. There is a health warning in front of an ad for a tire company, and for good reason. This isn't your typical screamer video where you're lulled into a false sense of security by bunnies or a beautiful country hillside. You know there's a jump scare coming in this one, and it still will give you a heart attack. It's dash cam footage of 2 guys driving in a crazy snowstorm. In the distance, they see a ghostly figure standing in the middle of the road. They stop the car for a moment, then the ghost jumps to the windshield. The ghost is holding a sign which translates to, "Have you put your winter tires on?" I've seen a few users calling this one of the scariest commercials ever, and I'd have to agree, it's up there for me too. MTV Brazil was brought to court because of this ad that aired in 2002. It starts as a trippy 3D render of a rotating Buddha character meditating with kaleidoscope animation swirls in the background. After about 30 seconds, the figure dissolves, and in its place, a close-up of a demonic face appears on screen with rapid-fire subliminal graphic imagery flickering for the rest of the ad. As the video description states in Portuguese, the video contains 180 subliminally inserted frames with images of naked women tied, gagged, and in sexual and erotic positions, one of which with a strong indication of pedophilia. MTV was fined 7.1 million Brazilian real. The public prosecutor's office decided that because viewers were involuntarily exposed to images of sadomasochism, all viewers were entitled to $1. A spokesperson for MTV Brazil said, "At no time did MTV know about the existence of these images, but you didn't even have to slow it down to process what was obviously on screen. And it supposedly aired all day, every day from March through September of that year. So I think they should have felt lucky that a fine was all the punishment they received." This commercial made people physically sick. In 2005, the BBC launched an advertising campaign called Faces to showcase 6 extra BBC channels available to purchase. The ads displayed a gigantic flying shape-shifting human head made up of a bunch of smaller heads. And that's it. Nothing appeared sickening to me. It's like a flock of birds migrating for the winter. But I might be in the minority here because in the 1 month it was on air, the BBC was flooded with over 1,000 complaints. People found these floating heads grotesque, saying it was deeply psychotic, hideous, demonic, and one viewer complained it made them physically sick and forced them to leave the room whenever it played. It could be that this ad was affecting a part of the population who suffer from trypophobia, which is the fear of or discomfort caused by clustered holes or circles. To make matters worse, according to this research paper, trypophobia increases if the holes are on human skin. So for these people, this ad was the worst thing you could ever make. How offended would you be if your face was in this commercial that made everyone physically ill? And with that, the Iceberg Chart was completed, and so was the live stream series. We had to say goodbye to some of our friends as we headed out of the betting barn one last time. I feel like I'm graduating high school and I'm just saying goodbye to all my childhood friends.
Bye at the betting barn near you.
If you're looking for more videos from me, might I suggest this video I made about public access television? I absolutely loved making this one. And while you consider clicking that, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you liked this, I hope you subscribe, and thank you to my YouTube members for helping support this channel. It's only $1 a month, so if you want to join in on that, I would really appreciate it. I'll see you in the other video, and let's do this again sometime.